Hi, I'm Sam, a second-year economics student at the University of Cambridge, and in my GCSEs I managed to achieve all grade 9s, and in my A-levels I managed to achieve 4 A stars. In this video, I'm going to go through the things I would be doing if I were in your shoes, preparing for my GCSEs or A-levels. Firstly, let's talk about studying. There are broadly 3 things you want to have ticked off when you go into that exam hall. You want to have firstly understood the content, secondly have memorized the content, and thirdly, have practiced the content. If you've done all 3 of these things, there is very little they can throw at you in the exam which you will not be ready for. The order in which you do these 3 things would, in an ideal world, be sequential, i.e. you would first focus on truly understanding the topics and concepts you are being taught. You would then go about memorizing these topics and concepts, and finally you would apply them to exam situations. To provide a bit more detail, the way you would go about understanding is talking to the teacher, talking to your friends, reading the textbook, watching YouTube videos, etc. Anything and everything you can do to truly understand the mechanisms behind what you're being taught. The way you would ideally go about the memorization section would be using some sort of active recall technique alongside spaced repetition. For example, this could be the use of flashcards, blurting, etc. And the way you would ideally practice the content would be through a mixture of exam questions by topic and past exam papers. However, you watching this may not be in a position to fully complete this 3-step process by the time your exams come around. Although not ideal, I can promise you this is not catastrophic. In a way, if you want to, you can view this video as a changing point or a catalyst in terms of how much you're willing and able and wanting to do in regard to your exams. And I can say you're probably capable of learning much more in a short period of time than you're currently giving yourself credit for. So if you are in a position to fully complete this 3-step process, go for it and continue on your current track. However, if what I've described sounds slightly like you may have to cut out certain steps of this process. You may tactically choose and be happy with not fully understanding certain topics. You may instead just choose to memorize for this topic. Now this does open you up to some risk, i.e. if they ask a particular question which requires a deeper level of understanding, but that's a risk you chose and are willing to take given your time constraints. Alternatively, you may choose to reallocate time and effort away from one subject or topic towards another. I can't tell you what shortcuts you yourself should be taking, as this is fully dependent on your current exam goals, the amount of and quality of the revision up to this point, and how much time you have left till your actual exams. But just know where possible, you should be doing this 3-step process. But if this isn't possible, it's okay. You should be taking some shortcuts to maximize how well you can do, given the fact that there isn't too much time until the exams themselves. Obviously, studying is probably the most important thing you should be focusing on in regard to your upcoming exams. That being said, something you should not disregard is your health. Firstly, you do not want to be getting ill, for the obvious reason that if you are ill, it's harder to study and take your exams. So things such as eating well, drinking enough water, etc. are really important in that run up to your exams. Another thing you want to make sure you are doing is sleeping well. This doesn't just mean making sure you're getting enough sleep, but also making sure you're getting enough good quality sleep, especially during the season where the stress of exams can diminish the quality of your sleep. A lot of students underestimate the power sleep has in regards to your learning. It's when you're sleeping that your brain is consolidating all the things you learned the day before. And it's also so much easier to study if you are well rested, along with the fact you are much less likely to suffer from burnout. Studying for exams can also have a toll on your mental health, primarily through anxiety and stress. And that anxiety and stress can leak out to other areas of your life. So it's important to continue doing the things that take your mind away from exams and studying. These provide us with little mental breaks, which can be so beneficial. For me, the thing was always sports. But for you, it may be playing a musical instrument, chatting with a particular friend, doing some sort of hobby, etc. But whatever it is for you that takes your mind away from studying and allows you to focus completely on something else, giving you that mental break, keep doing it even in exam season. Again, it just diminishes the effects of things such as stress and anxiety, which are great for the long run studying, and hence are also great for how you're going to perform in your exams. So your health is definitely something you should be considering at this point in the run up to your exams. Now it can be difficult to stay focused and motivated to study, especially considering the numerous distractions we have around us. The biggest of these distractions is probably your phone, and primarily the social media apps your phone holds. So firstly, try and keep your phone away from you when you're intending to study. This way you're less likely to find yourself sitting scrolling on your phone when actually you are meant to be studying. Secondly, consider if it's worth deleting certain apps during this exam period. If you find yourself constantly scrolling on these apps when deep down you know and you want to be studying for your exams, it may be worth deleting these apps, again as a way of increasing the friction of distraction. It's something I've done recently as I prepare for my university exams. Another recommendation I have is try and spend your study breaks away from your phone. This may not always be possible, but I always found I feel more rested and more fulfilled after a break if I spend it doing something like going for a walk, getting outside, physically talking to someone, rather than just sitting on my phone. There's this idea of residual focus, which is essentially the focus that carries over when you move from doing one task to another. So for example, if you're doing something on your phone and then have to go quickly back to studying, there's going to be some residual focus and you're going to find it harder to start that study period and be effective during that studying. On the whole, what I personally found is spending less time on my phone during the exam season, during the times when I'm meant to be studying, has proven to have big benefits. So what I'd do if I were you, I'd focus on my studying, primarily through understanding, memorization, and exam practice. If I don't have enough time to completely cover all 3 sections, I may tactically cut bits out, and that depends on my own goals and my own situation. I'll then also prioritize my health, not just my physical health, but also my mental health. And finally, I try and do all I can to limit the distractions I have in my way, whether that be by putting my phone outside my room or out of sight, deleting certain apps, and making the most of the breaks I have when studying. Hopefully you found this video useful and informative. If you enjoyed, maybe stick around, and as always, thank you for watching.